Dear listeners, we're back with a new story. Get ready for cheating, revenge, and wild relationship drama. The sun streamed through the living room window, casting a warm glow over everything, but I felt cold sitting on the couch, a crumpled ice pack clutched to my knee. Just a week ago, I was out running, feeling the crisp air fill my lungs, and now, I was trapped here, sidelined by a clumsy misstep. It was infuriating to be confined to this spot, like a forgotten piece of furniture. Bella moved around me with an ease I envied, her long hair pulled back into a ponytail as she prepared for her yoga session. "Hey, can you pass me the mat?" she called, her voice light and airy, as she rummaged through the closet. "Yeah, sure," I replied, trying to hide the annoyance in my tone. I fished the mat out and tossed it over to her. As she spread it out on the floor, my heart sank. She was so focused, so at ease, while I felt like a spectator in my own life. Bella caught my eye and smiled, the kind of smile that used to make my heart flutter. "You should join me. It might help with your knee." "I don't think downward dog is in the cards for me right now," I said, attempting humor to mask my frustration. "I'm more of a couch potato these days." She chuckled lightly, but there was a flicker of concern in her eyes. "Just because you can't work out doesn't mean you have to sit around and sulk. How about some gentle stretches? I can show you." I waved her off. "No, really. I'm fine. You focus on your practice. I'll just be here, being supportive." The sarcasm dripped from my words, and I immediately regretted it. "Okay, Mr. Supportive," she said, her tone lightening again. "But I want to see you doing something when I'm done. Just promise me you won't fall asleep." "Deal," I said, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. As she settled onto her mat, I shifted my gaze toward the window. Outside, the world continued to move, kids laughing, couples walking hand in hand, and laughter spilling from the neighbor's house next door. The loud bass from their party seeped through the walls, a relentless reminder of the fun I was missing. Each beat felt like a jab to my heart, amplifying my sense of isolation. "Can you believe those neighbors?" I muttered, more to myself than to her. "Maybe they're celebrating something," Bella said, glancing over her shoulder. "It's Saturday night. We could use a little fun ourselves." I snorted. "Yeah, right. Fun for me means icing my knee while you do yoga." "Real blast." "You're being dramatic," she teased, rolling into a pose. "Just think of it as a break. You'll be back on your feet in no time." "Easier said than done," I shot back, a tinge of bitterness creeping into my voice. "I feel like a prisoner in my own home." Bella paused, her brow furrowing as she looked at me. "You know I'm here for you, right? This is just temporary. We'll figure it out together." I wanted to believe her, but the nagging feeling of abandonment loomed over me. The music grew louder, and I could hear laughter from next door, the sound of glasses clinking, and the chatter of voices enjoying the night. A pang of jealousy twisted in my stomach. "Maybe I should just go over there and join them," I said, half joking, but part of me meant it. "Why would you want to do that?" she asked, her tone suddenly serious. "We're having a night in, remember?" "Yeah, well, it doesn't feel like it," I replied, the frustration spilling out. "You're all zen and happy while I'm stuck here." Bella shifted on her mat, concern etched across her face. "You're not stuck. You just need to give yourself time to heal." "I know it's hard, but, hard? It's more than hard. It feels like you're moving on without me," I snapped, unable to hold back any longer. "You're off in your own world while I'm sitting here feeling like a ghost." Bella's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and hurt flooding her features. "That's not fair. I'm just trying to help you. I care about you." "I know," I said, my voice softening as I realized how harsh I sounded. "I'm sorry. It's just. I hate this feeling." She took a deep breath, her expression softening. "I know. But I promise you, this will pass. You're not alone in this." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the genuine concern in her eyes. But the feeling of isolation clung to me like a shadow. I just want to feel normal again. She nodded, returning to her yoga practice, but the tension hung in the air between us. I felt the weight of the silence, heavy with unspoken words. As I leaned back against the couch, the sounds of the party next door enveloped me, reminding me just how far away I felt from everything I used to know. Maybe I should go talk to them, I muttered under my breath, more to myself than to her. Go ahead, Bella replied, her voice steady. If that's what you want. I hesitated, staring out the window, considering the idea. Maybe a little confrontation would help break this isolation, but a nagging voice inside me warned it wouldn't solve anything. I sat in silence, feeling like I was caught in a whirlwind of emotions, hurt, jealousy, and an overwhelming desire for connection. But for now, all I could do was watch as she moved gracefully on her mat, a poignant reminder of the life I felt I was losing. The muffled thump of bass reverberated through the walls, drowning out my thoughts as I paced the room. Bella was lost in her yoga routine, her serene focus serving as a stark contrast to my escalating frustration. Each laugh and cheer from next door sent another wave of anger crashing over me. I felt the walls closing in, the weight of my isolation pressing down on my chest. I glanced at Bella, her eyes closed in meditation, blissfully unaware of my internal storm. The thought of stepping outside, of confronting our neighbor, suddenly felt like a lifeline, a chance to break free from this suffocating bubble. Bella, I called, attempting to keep my voice calm. I think I'm going to go say something to them. She opened her eyes and turned her head slightly. To the neighbors? Why, they're blasting music at midnight while I'm stuck here. I said, the frustration bubbling over. It's disrespectful. I can't even hear myself think. She sat up, concern etched on her face. But what are you hoping to achieve? You don't want to escalate things. Just let it go, let it go. I repeated incredulously. I'm tired of letting everything go. I'm sick of feeling like I'm invisible here. If I don't stand up for myself, who will? Okay, just take a breath, all right? Bella said, her tone steady yet soothing. You don't have to do this now. I need to do something. I shot back, the bitterness spilling out. You seem so at peace with everything while I'm just, here, trapped. I'll be back. Without waiting for a response, I stormed out, the door slamming behind me. The cool air hit my face like a slap, grounding me momentarily. I felt the pulse of the music as I approached the neighbor's house, and with each step, my heart raced faster. I raised my hand to knock but hesitated, the realization of what I might find hitting me all at once. Before I could rethink my decision, the door swung open, and I was met with the sight of the neighbor, Tom, leaning casually against the doorframe, a drink in hand. His laughter rang out, loud and carefree, echoing the vibe of the party behind him. Hey, man. What's up? He greeted, grinning, his demeanor oblivious to the storm brewing in my chest. Hey, Tom. Can we talk? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, though it trembled slightly. Sure, come on in, he said, stepping aside. I hesitated, but the loud music and boisterous laughter spilled out, urging me inside. As I crossed the threshold, my eyes landed on the lively scene, the room packed with people dancing, drinks in hand, and the air thick with a sense of freedom I craved. But then I saw her. Bella was there, her laughter mingling with the others, and I felt my heart drop. She stood too close to Tom, a playful glint in her eye. The sight made my stomach churn as jealousy boiled over. Bella. I called out, my voice cracking slightly. She turned, her eyes widening in shock as she caught sight of me. The room grew silent, the music fading into the background as the weight of the moment settled. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice laced with confusion. I came to talk to Tom, I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. But it looks like I found you, enjoying yourself. Tom shifted uncomfortably, glancing between us. Hey, I didn't know you were coming over. We were just what, Tom? Having a little fun. I interrupted, my anger bubbling over. While I'm at home nursing my injury, you're here, partying it up with my wife. Bella stepped closer, her expression pleading. Wait, let's talk about this. It's not what it looks like, not what it looks like. I scoffed, disbelief flooding my voice. I just saw you laughing and joking with him, Bella. How long has this been going on? I'm just hanging out, she exclaimed, her tone defensive. We're just friends, friends. I echoed, incredulous. Is that why you're here, sharing a drink with him at midnight? The tension in the room crackled, and the partygoers exchanged nervous glances. Bella opened her mouth to respond, but I cut her off again, the bitterness spilling out. You can't deny that it looks bad. It feels bad. Do you even care? Of course I care. Bella shouted, her voice rising. I was trying to help you. I thought you'd be okay with me taking a break, having some fun while you recover. Fun. I spat, my anger escalating. Is this what fun looks like to you? Because it feels like betrayal to me. Tom shifted awkwardly, unsure of how to navigate the tension. Look, man, I didn't mean to intrude. Bella's just trying to have a good time. You know how it is. Don't you dare defend her, I shot back, fury igniting in my chest. You have no idea what I'm going through. Both of you need to calm down, Bella interjected, her voice shaking. This isn't helping anything. What's not helping is you being here with him while I'm at home alone. I yelled, feeling the raw pain and betrayal coursing through me. I thought we were in this together, but it sure doesn't feel that way. Silence fell, heavy and suffocating. Bella looked at me, her eyes wide with fear and regret, and for a moment, I saw the flicker of vulnerability beneath her bravado. I didn't mean for it to come to this, she whispered, her voice trembling. I thought I was giving you space to heal. I didn't want to feel trapped either. Trapped? I repeated, the word biting. So this is how you cope. By running to him. The anguish in my chest surged, threatening to choke me. I turned away from her, the reality of the situation crashing down on me like a tidal wave. All I had wanted was to confront the noise next door, but I had stumbled into a scene that shattered my trust. I need to go, I muttered, backing away slowly, desperate to escape the suffocating atmosphere. Please, wait. Bella called after me, her voice filled with panic. Let's talk about this. Don't just walk away, but I couldn't hear her anymore. I stepped out into the cool night air, the music fading behind me as I made my way back home. Each step felt heavier than the last, my heart pounding with disbelief and betrayal. I had sought clarity and resolution, but all I found was chaos and a gaping wound where trust used to reside. The days that followed the confrontation felt like a slow march through a foggy wasteland. I had closed the door on Bella and Tom's laughter, yet it echoed in my mind, haunting me at every turn. I could still see Bella's startled expression, the fear in her eyes, and the way she had backed away, desperate to explain, a stark contrast to the warmth I once associated with her. Every morning, I awoke to a heavy silence that wrapped around me like a shroud. The vibrant colors of our home now felt muted, the walls closing in with memories of what we once shared. My knee throbbed as a constant reminder of my injury, but the emotional pain cut deeper than any physical ache. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the untouched coffee mug in front of me, wishing it could drown out the chaos in my mind. Bella was home but seemed to inhabit a different world, an invisible barrier stretching between us. She moved about the house quietly, as if she was afraid to disrupt the fragile peace we had created since that night. Her once lively laughter felt like a ghost, lingering in the corners of our shared spaces. One evening, she approached me, her expression tense yet hopeful. Can we talk? She asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. I looked up, caught off guard by the sincerity in her eyes. About what? What's left to say? About what happened, she pressed, taking a cautious step closer. I don't want to keep pretending like everything is okay. It's not. Yeah, no kidding, I replied, my tone sharper than I intended. You think we can just sweep this under the rug? You kissed him, Bella. That's not something you just forget. I know, she said, her voice cracking. But I didn't mean for it to happen. I thought we were just having fun, and I got carried away. It was stupid, stupid. I echoed, disbelief flooding my voice. Stupid doesn't even begin to cover it. Do you understand how that felt? Seeing you with him, in that moment, her eyes glistened with tears. I do. I really do. And I regret it every second since. I didn't realize how much I missed feeling connected to you, and I thought maybe I could find that again by stepping away. Stepping away. I scoffed, anger bubbling up again. By stepping out with my neighbor. I know it sounds ridiculous, she admitted, her voice trembling. But I felt so alone, and I thought you didn't need me because you were focused on your recovery. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. The admission hung in the air, heavy with an unsettling truth. I wanted to believe her, to accept the apology and move forward, but the betrayal cut deep, a raw wound that refused to heal. It's going to take more than an apology to fix this, I said, my voice softer now, a mix of vulnerability and anger. I understand, she said, her expression earnest. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. But I want to try. I want to fix us. I paused, the gravity of her words weighing on me. How can we fix this? What do you think will make it right again? I think we need to communicate more, she said. I should have reached out instead of seeking comfort elsewhere. I need to show you that I care, that I still want us. Communication. I scoffed lightly. It's not that simple. You kissed him. You let it happen. I know, and I was wrong, she repeated, her voice firm. But I can't change the past. All I can do is show you that I want to move forward. I want to rebuild the trust we had. As the weight of her words sank in, I felt a flicker of hope mingling with the pain. But trust wasn't something that could be rebuilt overnight. It's going to take time, I warned, my heart heavy with uncertainty. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, she said earnestly, stepping closer. Please, let me prove it to you. I looked into her eyes, searching for any sign of insincerity, but all I found was genuine remorse. Okay, I finally said, my voice low. But you need to understand that it won't be easy for me. I need space to process all of this. Of course, she replied, relief washing over her features. I can give you space. Just know I'm here when you're ready. With that, she retreated to the living room, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I knew I was taking a risk by letting her in again, but I also realized that I couldn't simply abandon everything we had built together. I needed clarity, but I also needed to prioritize my healing, both physically and emotionally. In the following days, I immersed myself in my recovery. I attended physical therapy sessions, forcing my body to regain strength while my mind grappled with the emotional fallout of our situation. I focused on regaining my physical capabilities, but the weight of the emotional struggle hung over me like a dark cloud. During one of my therapy sessions, my physical therapist, Jason, asked about my emotional state. You seem tense, he noted, working on my knee. How are you really feeling? I hesitated, unsure if I should open up about everything. I've been better, I finally admitted. My wife, she's dealing with some stuff, and it's hard not to let it affect me. Relationships can be complicated, he said, nodding knowingly. But you can't let her choices dictate your healing. You have to focus on yourself first. I know, I replied, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. But it's not that simple. I'm trying to figure out how to move forward while still feeling hurt. Take it one day at a time, Jason advised, applying gentle pressure to my knee. Focus on what you can control, your recovery, your mindset. Everything else will fall into place eventually. As I left the therapy session, I felt a shift in my perspective. I realized that while the journey to rebuilding trust with Bella would be challenging, my healing had to be my priority. I needed to reclaim my power, to rediscover who I was outside of her choices. That evening, as I sat alone in the living room, I picked up my phone and texted Bella. "Can we talk later?" It felt like a small step, but in that moment, I understood that the path forward would be a mix of healing, confronting the past, and allowing space for growth, both for me and for Bella. The aftermath of betrayal was a complicated landscape, but I was ready to navigate it, determined to emerge stronger and more resilient than before. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden light through the kitchen window as I prepared breakfast, my movements deliberate and measured. The rhythmic clinking of pots and pans felt grounding, a welcome distraction from the chaotic swirl of emotions that had consumed me since the confrontation with Bella. Today was about more than just recovery, it was about reclaiming my life and my power. I had spent the last week slowly rebuilding the pieces of myself that had felt shattered. I attended physical therapy diligently, each session pushing me closer to recovery. I had started jogging again, though I took it slow, embracing the fresh air and the rush of endorphins that accompanied each step. It felt liberating to move my body, to take control of my physical health. As I flipped the eggs in the skillet, I felt a presence behind me. Bella entered the kitchen, her expression a mixture of determination and apprehension. "Good morning," she said softly, her voice cutting through the clatter of my cooking. "Morning," I replied, keeping my tone neutral as I focused on plating the eggs. The silence hung heavy in the air, and I could feel the weight of unspoken words lingering between us. "I was thinking we could have breakfast together," she suggested, stepping closer. "I made some coffee." "Sure," I said, but my heart felt heavy. The last thing I wanted was to pretend like everything was normal. "But let's not make this awkward, okay?" "Agreed," she said, a small smile breaking through the tension. "I just want to talk, to really talk. If that's okay with you." "Go ahead," I said, taking a seat at the kitchen table. "I'm listening." She took a deep breath, as if gathering her thoughts. "I've been doing a lot of thinking about what happened between us. I realize how much I took for granted and how lost I've felt without your support during this time. I just didn't know how to reach out without feeling like I was bothering you." "Bothering me?" I scoffed lightly, shaking my head. "You ran to Tom instead. That's a bit more than just bothering me, don't you think?" "I know," she admitted, her voice small. "And I'm so sorry for that. I never intended to hurt you. I just felt so lonely, and it clouded my judgment. I want to make it right." "You keep saying that," I replied, my frustration simmering just below the surface. "But how can I trust that you won't do it again? What's to stop you from finding comfort elsewhere if things get tough?" "I promise you, I've learned my lesson," she insisted, her eyes earnest. "I never want to go through this again. I know I messed up, but I want to prove to you that I can be the partner you need." "Prove it how?" I challenged, leaning back in my chair. "What do you want to do differently?" "I want us to have a better line of communication," she said, her voice gaining strength. "I want to be more involved in your recovery, to understand what you're going through. I want to be your support, not the source of your pain." I took a moment to absorb her words. "That's a start, but actions speak louder than words. It's going to take time for me to heal from this." "I understand," she replied, her gaze steady. "And I'm willing to wait. I'll do whatever it takes to show you I'm committed to making this work." "Good," I said, feeling a flicker of hope spark in my chest. "But I need to focus on myself too. I've spent too long feeling like a victim in this situation, and I'm done with that." Bella nodded, her expression softening. "I want to support you in that. How can I help?" "Start by giving me the space to heal. I need to reclaim my independence, my power," I said firmly. "This injury has forced me to slow down, to reconsider what I want out of life, and I need to embrace that." "I can do that," she promised, her tone serious. "I want to help you find your strength again." As we finished breakfast, I felt a renewed sense of determination. I would no longer be defined by the betrayal. I was determined to forge a new path forward, one where I prioritized my well-being and reclaimed my identity. Over the next few weeks, I focused on my recovery, both physically and emotionally. I set goals for my therapy sessions, pushing myself to regain strength and mobility. Each day, I jogged around the neighborhood, feeling the wind on my face and the ground beneath my feet, a reminder that I was capable of more than I had ever realized. Bella respected my need for space while still offering her support. She accompanied me to therapy sessions and brought me nutritious meals, her actions speaking volumes about her commitment to rebuilding our relationship. One evening, as I sat on the couch, I received a text from Jason inviting me to a local running group. I hesitated, unsure if I was ready to mingle with new people, but then I remembered how much I craved connection outside of my home. I decided to reply with an enthusiastic yes. "Who are you texting?" Bella asked, peering over my shoulder. "A running group," I said, my excitement bubbling over. "I think I'm going to join them next week." "Really?" she said, her eyes brightening. "That's great. I know how much you love running. I'm proud of you for taking that step." "Thanks," I said, feeling a warmth spread through me. "I think it's time I start finding my own rhythm again." As the days turned into weeks, I immersed myself in the running group, forging new friendships and rediscovering my passion for fitness. I felt more alive than I had in months, and the endorphins became a balm for my troubled heart. I shared my struggles with the group, and they offered support and encouragement in ways I hadn't anticipated. One evening after a run, I found myself sitting around a bonfire with some of the group members. The laughter and camaraderie felt liberating, and I realized how much I had missed that connection. "I'm glad you joined us," a fellow runner named Mark said, tossing another log on the fire. "You bring a great energy to the group." "Thanks, man," I replied, a genuine smile breaking across my face. I needed this, more than I realized. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, I felt a sense of belonging wash over me. For the first time in a long while, I felt a glimmer of hope. The journey ahead would be long, but I was ready to reclaim my power and embrace the uncertainty. Back at home, I noticed a change in Bella as well. She seemed more attentive, more present, and I could see the effort she was making to reconnect. One night, as we sat on the couch, I turned to her, feeling a surge of gratitude. "Thank you for giving me space. It's helping more than you know." "I'm just glad you're finding your way back," she said, reaching for my hand. "I've missed you, the real you." "I'm still figuring out who that is," I admitted, squeezing her hand. "But I'm determined to find out." "Then I'll be here, right by your side," she said, her eyes filled with warmth. In that moment, I knew I was on the path to healing. I wasn't just reclaiming my power, I was rediscovering myself. Each day was a step toward a new beginning, one that held the promise of hope, strength, and the possibility of rebuilding the trust that had been shattered. As I looked at Bella, I realized that while the road ahead would be challenging, I was ready to face it head-on, determined to emerge stronger and more resilient than ever.